Welcome to part 2 of making a short film with no crew. And today we're going to go over pre-production and production on this film. The idea of this is to talk about making the film with very little help. So these are just some things that will help maximize your time and things to consider, because it's honestly it's easy to get really overwhelmed if you're by yourself, because you're just taking on everything. So every decision, it's quite a lot. In this film we had lots of locations, and each location required scouting and budgeting and props and what outfit was going to be worn in it, and how are we going to shoot it. And you had to build a schedule so that it would all work and all be in budget. So that's just all the moving parts of production. Like, I like to think of having resources, having crew as speed. I think there are plenty of points in this film that would have benefited from having crew, but when you don't, I think that the trade-off is when you don't have crew, you need more time. The thing that you overlooked will come back to haunt you. For our pre-production, we used Milanote, which is an amazing pre-production software, and it's free. It's basically where all of the information on the project went, from photos to links, folders, to-do lists. It's just an amazing tool, so I highly recommend it. Coming off of the story and the scripting, we dove into visual references. And I love to exchange visual references because it's a way to kind of taste make with another person. So whether it's a client or any other collaborator, the great part about you curating references is you can't have them pick something that sucks, because you picked everything that you're feeding to them. So you're like, here are a bunch of these references that I picked out and think are good, and they can tell you what they do and don't like, but there's kind of no wrong answers for them to pick, because you're the one that picked all the references. So I get such value out of the references stage, because again, it's like finding what their tastes are. When you kind of go through these steps with them, you get to see what they light up about, and what's really exciting to them. Some of the standout references for us were Euphoria and this creepy ballet movie called Suspiria. So we took a ton of visual language from that, again, and also kind of moments of visual comedy. You can see in our shot list folder here, we have here the line, and then we have some reference images of what our sequence could be like. And then you can see we have outfits and stuff like that. So we boarded this thing fairly, I would say more so than I ever have previously. I've never been a super tight storyboard guy, but this film, it's way too much to leave anything to chance, because it's just, each thing is so intentional and it's a lot of locations. So wrapping up pre-production, just make sure you're giving yourself enough time to figure out every single detail. Be patient with yourself, make sure the project has enough time, and don't rush into production if there's something that's not figured out yet. So next we're going to jump into the cinematography breakdown. We shot this film on the Canon C70, which has a really great RAW codec. It's lightweight and it has really good autofocus, so it was a great fit for this project. I flew in with the majority of the stuff in a flight case, but we supplemented with some rentals. Lighting wise, we had a Amaran f22C, an Aperture 300X, and an Aperture 60X. We also picked up an Aperture spotlight mount and a softbox, and that was pretty much it. We had a gimbal, a tripod. Lens-wise, we were on a Tokina 11-16, the Sigma 24-70, and the Canon 70-200. So pretty basic zooms. So that's all the gear. Let's get into the breakdown. Okay, so this shot, we just had a key light off to the side. We were pushing through a 6x with the Amaran f22C, which is my favorite light of all time and is responsible for most of the light in this film. Same thing going on here. We just have the 6x out kind of up in the top corner out of frame here. And again, we got the gimbal move that took us a while to nail, but we got it. I'm like bringing in a little aperture MC to kind of fill the face in. I had like a little diffuser on it, and I'm just kind of like holding it in the window as far as I could reach. And here, I think it would have been nice if we had some like negative fill on one side. I think would have done the trick here. This was in the living room scene, and there's like a upright piano that is pressed against the wall, but we pushed it out from the wall, and then I put the F-22 off to the side here, and you can see the level on the right side of her face here. The other side is, there's windows behind her, and I framed her kind of against this like warm painting, and I balanced the camera pretty cool for this. This is like all daylight. So it kind of has some nice like, detail, color contrast, a little, we got the lamp in there, and then we did the whip pan over to mom over here, and this is, the windows are out a little bit, but we didn't have the lighting to do everything. And honestly, it's like she kind of has a reasonable fall off, so like the blown windows, they don't bother me that much. Got some flick zooms and little pans and whips and stuff. Okay, onto the bedroom. One intention I had for the bedroom is that we knew we were going to shoot it a lot and have a couple different looks for the room, and it was my idea to never show it the same way twice. And so in this shot, it's just daylight balanced. I have the 6x out to the side here, and then I have a little aperture 60X coming from just deep in the room, and it's just giving me a little bit of separation on her, on just like the edge of her hair and everything. So in this look, it's daylight. The next time we see the room here, you can see that it's the same, it's lit pretty much the same way, but the camera's balanced to like, I don't know, 32 or 3500 maybe. So the room looks very like cool, and a lot of the greens and pinks are more pronounced here because of the temp. So the room reads just so differently. And then we have a third look with the room here, which is a night look. On camera right here, I'm just firing a 300X with a spotlight in kind of like a tight rectangle on the white wall. We just removed all the stuff that was actually on the desk, but it looks like it's a bedside lamp, but we just have the level that we needed to, you can see basically keying her face. It's all bounced off the wall. And then up in the background, I think I'm firing the F-22 into the ceiling on like a pale blue, and it's pretty pushed in post. But had I done anything differently here, I probably would have put a little edge light around her hair just to like separate her from this dark background a little more. So, lesson learned. Okay, we got a little gimbal move. This is really just the aperture 60X, and it has a like kind of defocused circle naturally. So that's all that's going on here. Tea and lemon, we tried a lot of different light for this. Like my first thought was to do like a textured, like hard light kind of thing, and it really just wasn't working because you need like differences in elevation, like taller objects and shorter objects, and the shadow, with how the shadows were working, it just wasn't playing very nice. So we just decided to go like really soft with it. This is just a 6x. Mounted the camera up top. That's pretty much it. Simple key. Okay, the ballet. I just use a lot of window light for these looks as my key for pretty much everything. And the only other light that's in the room is the F-22 that I just use as like a background light, and you can see it has like a little bit of edge on her just like way far in the back of the room pretty much, and I had it cranked, and it just offers like some kind of like vibey edge lights. Let's see here. You can definitely see it in this shot. It's just like edge. Same thing here. I mean, you can kind of even see like the light over on this side of the frame. Little silhouette. Same thing here. You can see this nice edge light on her side of her face. Just one light kind of in the edge. I mean, you can even see it back here. There's like a little pop of just separation in like every shot pretty much. So I just made sure that her position was always conducive so that the window light is always keying and you get a nice fall off on the face. And then that F22 in the back is just giving me an edge, and it just looks very like athletic and like, you know, dynamic looking. In this shot, it's like, you know, we're descending down into the darkest part of her story. So the front of her face is actually completely dark. Shout out to Samantha, who did an amazing job on the animation here. This is just F22 on an overcast day. That's it. Had a bunch of people throwing buckets. This room was just like a key off here. It's kind of it's tough to control it because it was a lot of spill. So these shots have a lot of like power windows that kind of just divert the eye to where I want them to go, and it cuts down a lot of the spill like on walls and stuff. Easy key, just a key. That's it. Just one light setups. Again, found a shady spot, and there's really not a lot going on. We're using a little bit of bounce there, maybe. This is a natural, just sunset, right time of day. Okay, this shot is I had a 300X with a spotlight mount. I think it was the narrowest one. I think it was the 18 degree one, because we couldn't get very far away, I think. But I had this pretty much dimed all the way to the warmest it would go, which is like maybe 2600 or something. And then this ambient light is, I think, the F22 on a daylight channel. So the camera's balanced pretty low. I think it's balanced probably to like 3200 or something close to that. So it's just like a warm, cool, you know, mix, simple. Okay. This is just a simple key light. I wish I would have done a little more on her face. It just so happens for this shot, her face is turned away from the light, but it is kind of a frustrated expression, so like maybe it works. But, you know, had I done it again, I probably would have either had a fill or like some sort of edge just to make it a little more, just pop a little bit more. This is just one light. We had like a little opportunity, a little window of time to shoot in this restaurant, so we just had a key light out onto the left, matched it to the overheads in the room just to get some level there. This was at a karaoke studio, and I have the F22 on like a party mode where it's like cycling different colors. Pretty simple. And they had these cool like moving lights in there that didn't flicker, so they were great. And it's just, you know, real short shot. Yeah, this was this last shot here was I was on a 70-200, zoomed all the way in, and I was on like, I don't even remember, like the 16th floor. It was pretty high. It was a pretty tall building, so this is zoomed in maybe about 150%, or yeah, we went from, you know, 100, zoomed it in like maybe about 50%, I guess it'd be. And so it's just like a tracking tripod shot. But yeah, I felt like I just, you know, talking about camera movements and stuff, I really relied heavily on autofocus. So for instance, any of the gimbal stuff, the whip pan stuff, where I'm like, this is all done like in camera, just with like autofocus, really. So, you know, I think that just playful tripod stuff is a lot of fun. It was in a lot of our references, and I think it's just, you know, it's fortunately very budget. If your tripod is halfway decent, you can just get really creative with like how you use a tripod, composition, how, you know, the ballet stuff where it's like the camera move, it's like shaking. So that was a lot of fun. Okay, checking out the ballet shot, which I think is one of the more standout shots in the film. We were able to do this by renting a what's called a skate dolly, and I didn't go in thinking that we were going to do that. I was honestly planning on getting a Dana dolly, but the rental place that we used happened to just have the skate dolly on their website, because I was looking up dollies and I was like, wow, that actually looks really cool. Like, let's just get it and see what we can do with it. And it actually allowed us to get all of our shots without needing a Dana dolly whatsoever. So it was lightweight. It was able to support the camera just fine. So we got this shot, and then the shot with like the fingers walking on the table was also like a skate dolly shot. So shout out Skate Dolly. Definitely check them out if you have like a smaller camera package, because I think they can get some really cool shots with it. So that does it on production. You know, the things that you can't see on here are basically all the load in and load out. It's a lot of locations that we did. So, you know, pulling all the gear in and out and dialing it in, and you know, it definitely adds up. So make all of your choices as efficiently as you can, because, you know, everybody's energy is at a premium, and you know, thankfully we were able to pull this off, and we just had a ton of access being in Vancouver, which was Michaela's like stomping ground. So it was really great. Let me know if you have any questions, and it was great to just walk down some of these shots. So I'll see you in the next one.